In the early 20th century, the Ottoman Empire was still the dominant power on the Balkan Peninsula. Until 1912, the Balkan League was formed. The Balkan League consists of Bulgaria, Macedonia, Serbia and Greece. On October 8, 1912, the member states of the Balkan League declared war on the Ottoman Empire. This armed conflict, which later became known as the Balkan Wars. In this conflict, the Balkan League has ambitions to reduce the dominance of the Ottoman Empire in the Balkans. And in this war, the Ottoman Empire lost almost all of its territory on the Balkan Peninsula. At the start of the war, the Ottoman Empire mobilized 324,000 soldiers and 12,000 officers. On the Balkan League side, Bulgaria sends nearly 600,000 people out of its 4 million population. Serbia sent 255,000 troops to help Bulgaria. Then the Greeks, who sent 125,000 troops, and followed by the Macedonian, who fielded 40,000 soldiers in this war. With this number, the Balkan League, which had around 750,000 soldiers, was superior in terms of personnel against the Ottoman Empire, which only had about 300,000 soldiers. Thus, the outcome of this armed conflict was clear, that in the end, it was the Balkans League that came out victorious in the war. As a result, the Balkan League succeeded in capturing almost all of the Ottoman territories in the Balkans, and a new country, Albania, was born. Turkish historians argue that the Turkish government at that time was wrong in making decisions. He argued that the Ottomans should have responded to the ultimatum of the Balkans League by means of diplomacy, with the aim of buying time until the mobilization of troops was successfully completed. This opinion is quite reasonable, because when the Ottomans responded to the declaration of war on October 15, the Ottoman military mobilization was only half finished. In addition, poor infrastructure conditions also contributed to the slow mobilization of Turkish troops. With the defeat of the Ottoman Empire on various fronts, brought the Ottomans to defeat, and led to the Treaty of London, which was agreed on May 30, 1913, which also ended the First Balkan War. The result of the agreement was the Ottomans had to cede all of their territories west of the cities of Eni and Kikoy to the Balkan League. A problem then arose on the part of the Balkan League, where Bulgaria disputed with Serbia and Greece over the territory of Macedonia. Greece and Serbia then made a military alliance against Bulgaria on May 1, 1913. This situation triggered the outbreak of the Second Balkan War. In November 1914, from Constantinople, the Ottomans, through their religious leaders, called on all Muslims in the world to fight against Britain, France, Russia, and other allied countries. The Ottoman Empire, in the war, formed military alliances with Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Bulgaria in the Central Powers. Earlier on October 29, the Ottoman Navy with 2 German ships, namely Goeben and Breslau, attacked Russian ports on the Black Sea, marking the start of the participation of the Ottoman Empire in the First World War. The Ottomans tried to take control of the Suez Canal at the start of the war. The aim was to cut off the supplies the British were getting from the east. But this attack failed, because British intelligence managed to find out the Ottoman attack plan. In April 1915, the Allies launched an attack on Gallipoli in the Gallipoli campaign. British and French joint forces carried out a brutal attack in the Dardanelles Strait. The goal, so that the British and French fleets could enter the Black Sea, then join the Russian fleet. Initially, British ships managed to bombard the Turkish defenses and force them to retreat. The Turkish army's retreat strategy turned out to be their preparation for a counterattack. Unexpectedly, Turkey managed to destroy 3 British ships, and the British invasion by sea was declared a failure. On October 12, 1915, the Allied military mission in Gallipoli failed miserably, and the remaining British troops withdrew in January 1916. The Turkish troops also won the Siege of Kut against the British. Britain and France began to prepare plans to attack Turkey internally. In May 1916, Britain and France signed the Sykes-Picot Treaty. This agreement contained the division of the Middle East, where Britain controlled Palestine and Jordan, while France controlled Syria. A month later, the Arab territories revolted against the Ottoman Empire, under the leadership of Sarat Hussein. This rebellion was of course supported by the British, who sent weapons and spies to support Arab rebel groups. As the Russian Empire experienced with the Bolsheviks, the Turkish military then focused its forces on fighting on the Middle Eastern front. Apparently, this British plan succeeded in destroying the internal Ottoman Empire. Moreover, their main ally, Germany, is focusing on defending its territory in the west to face reinforcements from the United States. The only remaining ally for Turkey is Bulgaria. However, Bulgaria signed an armistice in September 1918, realizing that it was impossible for them to win, and in order to prevent more catastrophic destruction, the Ottoman Empire decided to surrender on November 2, 1918. The story begins on August 10, 1920, where the Istanbul government approves the Treaty of Sèvres. The content of this agreement is to divide the territory of Turkey for the war-winning countries. First, France would take control of Syria and southeastern Anatolia. Second, Italy will control the southwest region of Anatolia. Third, Izmir was given to Greece. Fourth, Armenia will rule East Anatolia, and Britain will rule Palestine and Jordan. As for the Ottomans, they were given very little land in Anatolia. This treaty is considered very cruel, and is considered the same as the Treaty of Versailles, which was given to Germany at the end of the First World War. The Treaty of Sèvres further angered the government in Ankara, and called for a Turkish war of independence, with the remaining powers at their disposal. Under Mustafa Kemal's leadership, the independence forces initially signed an agreement with the Soviet Union to demand arms supplies. Then they attacked the weakest enemy, Armenia. Turkish armies backed by Soviet weapons and finance could easily defeat the Armenians in the east. The next step is against Greece. But earlier, Mustafa Kemal sent his envoys to diplomacy with Britain, France, and Italy, so as not to help Greece. Under the heroic leadership of Mustafa Kemal, Turkish independence forces defeated Greece in the Izmir War in 1922. Victory after victory continued to be obtained by Mustafa Kemal, forcing the Allies to make peace with Turkey. Then, the Lausanne Agreement was signed. This made Mustafa Kemal's prestige increased rapidly, and on October 29, 1923, the Republic of Turkey was declared, with Mustafa Kemal as its first president. With this heroic story of Mustafa Kemal, he became a highly respected figure in the new Turkey, and earned the nickname Atatürk, the father of the Turkish nation. With a series of wars, making the Ottoman worse, the defeat in the Balkan War made their ambition rise to reclaim their lost territory. But this big ambition actually made them fall into a deeper abyss, the First World War. In this darkness, a hero emerges who liberates the Turks from Western colonialism and saves the Turks from greater destruction. Mustafa Kemal, changing the new face of Turkey by orienting itself to Western countries with the concept of liberalism and Western-style democracy, leaving the old Ottoman tradition, which he considered backward.
If you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share this video if you find it useful. Thank you.